Within the Maya and the Aztec, there's been estimates today by some researchers who have studied that we've lost 90+% of everything ancient in terms of writings and artifacts and describing their story from that region. They literally stole or burned everything. Do you know where they are? They still exist.
Where?
The Vatican.
How do we know that?
Because there have been whistleblowers that have talked about what's down there. I'm not going to name any names. Let's just say the library has an entire collection of Maya, Aztec, Egyptian, as well as ancient Sumerian tablets. When archaeologists and researchers look into when they conquered that region and then when they brought everything back, they discussed how it went back to Spain first.
How do we know that it ended up at the Vatican?
Because the Vatican was the head of the Catholic Church. The Vatican is the powerhouse behind why they went and conquered the Americas, because Spain was an empire.
It makes me wonder, like, what kind of stuff they have buried in those Vatican archives from us.
Whew, listen, 5 miles of underground Vatican archives.
Right, that's a lot.
There's been a few people that have come out talking who have had access to these Vatican archives. They can't say specifically everything they saw, but one guy did come on a documentary on History Channel years ago and talked about the fact that they had bones of beings that weren't human. From their perspective, they weren't human bodies. They had books and texts down there that nobody's ever been able to read or access that talk about technology, flying devices, and all these other incredible things that were hidden during the Inquisitions, because during the Inquisitions, they were suppressing technology heavy because they wanted to keep their boot on the necks of the people. The Inquisitions were so brutal, they killed over 80 million people over the course of 700 years, ordered underneath the popes. That really held us back because we should have been on the moon in the 1800s if it wasn't for the Inquisitions. That alone held us back from technological advancement.
Do you think some of these early humans are more enlightened?
A lot of people believe that the Vatican archives is a central storehouse for anything that doesn't fit in the conventional narrative. And I think it's an easy way to catalog and hide something. To get in there, you can only be a very, very high-level individual, or you have to have something specific you know you're looking for. They do not let you wander around. That's the Vatican archives.
How far below ground is it?
I don't know that. I don't know exactly how far down it is. What you have here is a collection of Gnostic texts, ancient Hebrew texts, ancient Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian. Imagine that they do have a little bit of respect for the ancient cultures. So instead of destroying it, there are a lot of things.
Keep a keepsake.
Keepsake for now. Someday, I do believe that there is an intention to release all of it. We gotta stop pretending that the power structures that be, that are in charge of certain aspects of history and decisions, because I do think that exists, is not planning on some kind of disclosure of some kind exactly.
The Vatican.
I think it'll happen down the road when we're in a very different society.
Does the Vatican run the world?
Figure this out. Most people don't digest this. They're the largest single stockholder in the world. They own the most property in the world that pays no taxes. Every school, every Catholic church. I mean, there's an organization a lot deeper than them called the Solidarity.
I'm not familiar with that.
Well, nobody
the
is.
Solidarity.
It's about 2,000-year-old club.
It's a club.
It's a club, and it's in the catacombs of the Vatican. You know, the Vatican's a city when it's in itself.
I know. I used
Just
to live
like
right next to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then you know.
I mean, I don't know
Well,
like
most
that.
most people don't know what I'm telling you.
So they meet down there, you're saying?
That's where they are. They only meet there, period.
Right. Okay.
They're very high-level profile people throughout the world. You get invited to be in it. Who's running the world? I think they are.
Wow.
When you think of what they control and what they do, it's amazing.
I don't think the Pope is the highest individual there at the Vatican.
What makes you think that?
A lot of individuals have studied this very extensively, and I'm somewhat one of them that believes that even presidents and the Pope are all just puppets. I think that things are changing in a way that they haven't really been before. We haven't had all this technology and all these things, and eventually information's gonna get out enough, that 1% we talked about, to shift that collective.
What does that do?
What happens is, imagine humanity is like a singular organism, if in terms of consciousness, and we have what's called a collective consciousness. It means that we all live in a reality together, right? And we share ideas, but there's this driving direction of humanity based on the average amount of people that believe in something similar. The average person goes to work and gets up, pays their bills, and I think that whole thing, though, is shifting. I think we should stop comparing to what hasn't happened before. Like, the Vatican Archives hasn't released anything, and they're powerful, and how can they not be that in the future? We need to not measure the future based on only the past.